Director Cooey with us today.
Hey, good evening.
All right. Director Jeffries.
Hello, I'm here.
All right. Director Stoffer.
Yes, good evening. I'm here. Thank you.
All right. Director Perkins.
Hi, good evening. Nice to see everyone.
All right. And Acting Superintendent Pryne.
I'm here. Hi.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thanks, everyone. Again, thanks for joining us and those guests that are with us this evening as well. So we will start off, now that we know everybody is here, we'll start off our evening with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could join me in the pledge. All right. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay, and just go over a couple of formalities here. A reminder that we are still in virtual meeting mode, as we can see. And with that said, any public comments at this time will be taken written, and please have them sent in by 5:30 at the latest of the day of the meeting. And those can go to either Tracy Norman, T. Norman at sequimschools.org, or to the school board itself at schoolboard@sequimschools.org. Just a reminder, and I think everybody's doing well with this, but a reminder to make sure that you maintain yourself muted and definitely keep your video off, and even board members, unless you're speaking, then you can come on video if you choose to. It helps maintain the integrity of the meeting. And also this meeting is being recorded. Okay. Next up, let's see, Director Perkins, can you read our vision and mission statement for us today?
Sure. Our vision is our community inspires and prepares each student to thrive. And our mission, in connection with our community, the Sequim School District empowers staff to inspire hope and provide flexible, innovative learning opportunities in a safe and respectful environment so each student thrives.
All right. Let me get this down here better. All right, thank you. Next up, I am going to read our acknowledgement that we were so pleased to have our guests at our last meeting to read that for us. But I'm going to read our acknowledgement of the land that we stand on. So we acknowledge the land we stand on. The Sequim School District, administrative and school buildings sit on the ancestral land of the S'Klallam people. While the S'Klallam traditionally come from one nation, history has led to the formation of three sovereign S'Klallam tribal governments: Lower Elwha Klallam tribe, located in Port Angeles, Washington; the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe, located in Sequim, Washington; and Port Gamble S'Klallam tribe, located in Kingston, Washington. The district's primary partnership is with the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe. The tribe and district share a partnership that includes official consultation on program and funding changes that may directly affect American Indian and Alaska Native students, as well as holistic service planning for students to remain successful in their educational surveys. All right, thank you. Okay, so first up on our agenda today under special presentations, as we all know at this current time, we have Dr. Jane Pryne is acting as our acting superintendent, and she's been with us for the week now, and today we get to officially approve her as our acting superintendent. So with that said, I would accept a motion to approve that.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say I appreciate the good work of the brief document. As somebody who has spent way too much time on superintendent documents over the past couple of years, thought it was very well done. The math behind what we're approving tonight in terms of something that is fair and equitable for all involved was expertly calculated, and I stand ready to approve and appreciate the good work behind it.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
Just my only comment is just to mention to Dr. Pryne that we are I'm thankful that she was able to jump on board so quickly and help us to serve the students and staff in Sequim at such a crucial time. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you, Director Perkins. I echo that. It was wonderful to find out that Dr. Pryne was available at the time, and she stepped right in and has been doing some great work right away, and we really appreciate it. And so thank you. Anything else before we vote? Okay, with that said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Any abstain? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm official. Almost.
Well, you're close to official. We have
I
one
am.
more step. So with that said, we have with us tonight also Judge Barnard, and Judge Barnard is going to administer the oath of office for Dr. Pryne.
Yes, thank you. I'm here. Are you able to hear me?
Absolutely, yes. Do.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I apologize that I am not able to use the camera on my computer. I can't explain why, but you'll hear the disembodied voice. And I take great pleasure in administering the oath to Dr. Pryne tonight. Dr. Pryne, I'll run through a series of questions, and at the end, if you agree in the affirmative to all of them, you may answer, I do. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Do you, Dr. Jane Pryne, solemnly swear or affirm that you are a citizen of the United States and state of Washington, that you are legally qualified to assume the office of interim superintendent and Sequim School District school board member, that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the state of Washington, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office to the best of your ability?
I do. I will, and yes.
Well, congratulations, Dr. Pryne, and from myself and Clallam County Superior Court, we extend our best wishes to you from a grateful community. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Judge Barnard, for joining us tonight and short notice and fulfilling this for us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Congratulations, and our best wishes to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, on to next up, we have the approval of our minutes for our October the 19th regular meeting.
Mr. Chair, if
I make
no
a motion to approve.
changes
Right.
recommended by Dr. Pryne, I would move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes?
Just one. I didn't. Although I may have missed it, but just regarding the approval of the expedited timeline for getting kids back into school sooner. Just where I had mentioned just the importance of making sure that all associations that are having their working conditions impacting are able to get that settled prior to. I just didn't see those in the notes, so I just wanted to make sure those were captured.
Okay.
Other than that one small detail added, I am ready to approve.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Tracy got that noted. All right.
I do, thank you.
Okay. Okay. With that noted, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next up, any changes to our agenda for this evening? Don't know that we have any. So with no changes to our agenda for this evening, a motion to approve our agenda.
Move to
Chair,
approve.
Stretcher Stoffer, so moved.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? All right. Next up, we have our consent agenda. And looking for a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Do we have any discussion on our consent agenda? Right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? All right. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on. We have no written comments this evening. So with that said, we will move on to our student representative statements for this evening. Do we have with us, is Olivia with us this evening?
Yes, I am.
There you are. Hi, Olivia.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good.
Good. All right. So for SHS, they wanted me to share that the Halloween drive was a major success. They had many, many members of the community come through with smiles on their faces. Jack Vandeweghe won the student leadership costume contest dressed as Jackie Moon from the movie Semi-Pro. SHS ASB would like to express gratitude to Patstine Dashiell for her generous donation of candy to the event. I apologize if I butchered that name. OPA would like to share cheers for the OPA staff and families. They successfully implemented a new software system to report monthly progress reports. A special thanks goes out to our teaching and learning department for supporting this program. DVS would like to share staff and students at DVS are wrapping up an inaugural term 1 at DVS. While DVS is an online school, many students and families are taking advantage of staff office hours and are connecting with our team to improve or enhance their learning. CTE would like to say congratulations to SHS robotics instructor Mr. Brad Moore. He recently received a grant from firstinspire.org. This grant will help with the registration and fees associated with robotics competition. Way to go, Mr. Moore. The middle school would like to share kids are back as Wave 1 of hybrid launch last week. Staff are thrilled to see even just parts of students' faces. Students are doing a great job as helping us refine protocols that will make bringing back the next group on Monday the 9th as safe as their first group. A lot of students and staff took advantage of the season with dress up on Friday. Some of the staff even presented themed lessons to students to infuse the joy of being together both in person and electronically. And they did share a couple pictures with me, but I wasn't able to download them and send them to Tracy, but they were very, very cool. They had a lot of options for costumes. And then that is all I had to share.
Ah, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Olivia. Okay. Next up, we have Alyssa Beeby.
Hi, thank you. So for Helen Haller, says that the time for PTO's winter plan sale is here. The first grade students have returned with the AABB schedule, and online book fair is on November 9th. As for Grey Wolf Elementary, says that we have had 2 pretty amazing weeks at Grey Wolf. First, we welcomed our kindergartners back last week. The kids, their parents, and our teachers were so excited to have a whole class back on campus. This morning, we welcomed our first grade students back into campus. What an amazing group. They worked so hard that their teachers ran out of assignments for them. We cannot wait for all of our students to be back on campus. Grey Wolf is ready to have kids in all of our classes. We are excited for this Friday. Dr. Ann Ranker returns to teach our Universal Design for Instruction PD. Grey Wolf administrators applied for and earned a grant for UDL. Dr. Ranker and ESD 114 will work with us through the process. Thank you to Seth. Our second grade classroom just received the flexible seating tools they purchased with their grant monies. Thank you to the teaching and learning department. Our teachers just received their new digital document cameras. We have been sharing 1 or 2 per grade level so far this year. Cheers and laughter could be heard through the hallways. After an 8-week wait, these document cameras will really allow them to record their lessons when and where it works best for them. We would like to thank the board for your support of our students and their learning school this school year. The best is yet to come. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. That's some exciting news from the elementary schools. Good to hear about kids being back in school and things are going well. Appreciate the updates. Okay, next up we have our regular board communication from our board members. So we'll start off with Director Koo.
All right, good evening. My internet connection is intermittent, so if I drop out, my apologies in advance, but I'll try and be brief. I want to start out with thanking Dr. Pryne. Obviously, great to see you again, and thank you sincerely for helping us out in a pinch. I'm very appreciative, let me spit that out, of your high level of communication and proactivity, and very much so for your coordination of efforts with Dr. Clark. Regarding and obviously without saying too much, I support and agree with the process that the committee has undertaken and acknowledge that this isn't easy for anyone. It's unprecedented and raises a lot of questions. Obviously, we can't comment on personnel matters and need to allow, the fact finding in a due place. Do want to recognize once again that this is a and looking forward to the conclusion of it and hopefully being able to move forward. But I do appreciate and sympathize with a lot of the concerning questions that have been raised. And I definitely appreciate the responsiveness of our board chair as well to that. Speaking of which, I want to thank our board chair and vice chair for their proactive work on behalf of the board in this challenging situation and to seek the consultative assistance from both the legal team and Prine. Finally, just a personal observation. I never shy away from using the bully pulpit to acknowledge moments in time. Our worlds are going to change fairly dramatically in the next days and weeks, and just a reminder that students are looking at us either as parents or board directors. So it's a good learning opportunity how things should go in such a challenging situation and what you can do or not do when things are outside of your control. We certainly can't control your sphere, nor should we attempt to, but there's going to be a lot of conflict in the coming days, and just hoping our can recognize the uniqueness of the situation and just and wish us all the best in leading in our respective roles as best we can. I'll note that with my own infallibility on the topic. So appreciate the good folks are doing and looking forward to seeing everyone on the other side of the next 48 hours.
Okay, thank you, Director Koo. Director Jeffries.
You bet. And I'd also like to add my welcome to Dr. Pryne, and she made a comment about hitting the ground running, and I think she's done a given the situation and beyond expectations. So I welcome her and look forward to working with her. I attended one of the director area meetings wasn't ours. It was another meeting, and I just wanted to mention I got to watch and listen to Lisa Beeby give a little presentation to the director areas all over the state. There's a video of several students, and she was one of them. Did a great job, so I really appreciate that. Other than that, well, I've attended several meetings online, webinars, attended one today with people from all over the country that was led by a former colleague of mine from New Mexico State University, and it was very informative. And so I get a kick out of being able to do that. Obviously, with the rise in the COVID numbers around the United States, I have great concerns, and I'm still keeping my eye on the community numbers. And so far, the community in Clallam County has responded very well at keeping our numbers down low. And I really appreciate that. It's incumbent upon us as educators to take a lead role in that because the community looks to us. So we need to make sure we're doing a good job so that we can keep the schools opening and reopening. And I think it's very important that we take our role in doing that very seriously. But other than that, not much else to say. Again, welcome back. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Director Jeffries. Director Stauffer.
Yes, good evening all, and thanks community for joining us tonight. Also want to thank our students for their report tonight. Very thorough, finding out about what's happening in the building, so thank you very much. Also, welcome to Dr. Pryne. Thank you for joining us and your leadership in guiding us through all that's ahead of us. Thank you for being here. Last week, participated in a community broadband discussion that the city of Sequim had chartered, and a lot of work happening out there, a lot of positive collaboration and partnership with several stakeholders on behalf of our community. And so just watch for continuing updates. And I believe our tech director, Bo, and assistant superintendent and Director Koo participated in that session also. So thanks everybody for being there. From here, I appreciate the focus that our district nurse and others are putting on the safety of what COVID means to our district, to our buildings, to our kids, to our community. And I know at times it's very complex, and I appreciate what Director Jeffries was just saying about watching the numbers. And it's important for all of us to wear that safety hat. And it's not just our district nurse, it's all of us can have the focus and lead and lean into that. Otherwise, thank you, and looking forward to the ongoing discussions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Director Stauffer. Director Perkins.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Just to echo what some of my other fellow colleagues have already said, and I won't necessarily state it all, but thank you, Dr. Pryne, for being here, and Director Koo, I appreciate your kind comments to regarding both myself and the chair. It has been an interesting few weeks, but I'm very thankful that Dr. Pryne's in place, and I couldn't agree more with Director Jeffries. She's definitely hit the ground running. So there's a lot happening right now, and I'm thankful for her leadership, but also not to forget about the other folks that we have that are giving her the assistance that she needs, that are already in place, and both to our district admin team and staff and paraeducators and janitorial staff and just about everybody that it takes to make this operate. I know that for us to do it safely, it takes each and every one of us, and I value everybody. And I'm glad that we have the opportunity for some of our kiddos to get back in building, but I definitely want to make sure we do it in a safe way for all those, for our students and our staff. So just want to put a big thank you out to our staff that are right now making it happen. So that's all for me. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Perkins. And again, echo what my fellow board members have said. I'd like to throw out some, first of all, I want to throw out some thanks and kudos back to Director Perkins for being there with me as my co-chair for the last couple of weeks, and actually through the year. It's been great working with you up to this point, and appreciate your counsel over the last couple of weeks. I want to give some thanks also to the cabinet and much of their work in helping put together the contract for Dr. Pryne, and again, Dr. Pryne coming on and helping us out at this time. But the big thanks really goes out to and in Alyssa's comments there about Gray Wolf and Helen Haller. To the staff, we've started bringing kids back to school. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to do, is educate our students. And they've shown, as they do every year, the great work that they do, and their leadership and ability to take them on. And kind of that last statement that was made is we're ready to bring them on and do this. And we really appreciate that. It's good to know that we have great leadership within our districts, within our buildings as well, and as this grows throughout the rest of the district, and just want to thank those. I also want to thank, as a parent, the communication level that's coming out of the district, and has been said from our school nurse on down to the different buildings. And just what's going on and how things are happening. And I appreciate that communication as a parent as well. So I know and am aware of what's happening with the education piece and the teaching of our students every day, which again is what our focus is, and appreciate that. So thank you all, and we will move on with the rest of our meeting. Okay. So next up, we have no reports to the board today, but we do have a report from our acting superintendent, Dr. Pryne. You are up.
Okay. Well, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the board for inviting me to step into this role. It has been, it's like somebody asked me last week, so how's it been? And I said, it's like I've always been here. I don't know. It's just very comfortable. The staff has been absolutely tremendous. The cabinet has been just gracious. I can't say thank you enough to the board and to the people in the district. Everywhere I've gone, I've gotten a very warm welcome, and I have been to most of the school sites. I think I have, I've been to the high school, the middle school, the 2 elementary schools. I've been to the newly renovated kitchen from a couple of years ago. I mean, it just everywhere. I've been to the transportation department. So everywhere I have gone, people have just been very, very gracious. So I want to put that out there and say thank you myself. So as you know, and I'm just going to say this is what I sent out today. Over Skyward. There's an election tomorrow, and this election is one that's garnering significant attention and unusually high levels of participation. That is what a healthy democracy does. We participate and we care deeply about what is best for each member of our community. In this great nation, we don't always agree on which ideas best support everyone, but I believe we do agree that civil discourse is an imperative, and that the free and respectful exchange of ideas is an important aspect of our community, both locally and nationally. And I trust that we will remember to be kind to one another and thoughtful about the example we're setting for the next generation, those young and watching, as we traverse the coming week of votes and decisions. I just don't want us to forget that our words matter and our actions do as well. And I sent that out to everybody on Skyward today because I just want us to take I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I don't think we can forget that we're all in this together, however it turns out. So I just wanted to share that. I also wanted to share that on Friday, we have our Professional Learning Day, and the Professional Learning Day will be wrapped around Universal Design Learning. And the Universal Design Learning Guidelines are tools that are used in the implementation, and they're a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. It's going to be very exciting. We have Dr. Ranker is going to be the keynote speaker, and then there'll be activities at each of the schools, but that happens on Friday. I also wanted to share what we do when we are notified about a COVID-19 case. And this is the protocol that we use. Human Resources follows up on every failed wellness check with a personal phone call to the employee to determine the exact nature of their symptoms and/or exposure. So when we log into Skyward, it asks you a series of questions and you answer yes or no. And if you answer that you've had none of the symptoms, and it gives you a big green check and you're good to go to work. But if you answer any of those questions with a yes, then it tells you that you can't come into work that day. So when that happens, those Skyward reports are screened every single day, and then those employees are called to find out what the situation is. Employees who are out due to a failed wellness check are advised they are not to return to work until they're cleared by Human Resources. Once Human Resources has reached out to the employee, the COVID point person at the building is then notified. The COVID point people are the assistant principals. They too make contact with the employee and reiterate the same instructions. If there has been an actual exposure and it's been determined there's a notification process in place because we, to keep everyone safe. HR and the COVID point people are in close and continual contact to make sure we're capturing everyone. The point people and health staff attend a weekly meeting with the Clallam County Health Department to stay current on all things. And then Sonia and her health staff are following similar protocols for students. So we do have a protocol in place if we have a staff member that has been exposed and or a student. And then we follow up. And so we just wanted to reiterate that we do have those protocols in place because I know that it's, this pandemic has not ended yet, and our numbers are rising in Washington, not necessarily in Clallam County, but in Washington. So we just wanted to reiterate that. So that's my report tonight. I will go through some levy information with you, and I guess that's next on the agenda. So Director or President Gibson, if you give me the thumbs up, I'll just move right into the levy and levy information.
You got it, but I just want to thank you. I really thank you for the update there on the COVID process and all. I think it's good to hear. We know that we have a process in place, but it's good to kind of hear what that actually is, and particularly also for those that are in attendance tonight that get an opportunity to hear that. So appreciate that. And yes, the EP&O and the capital projects are very, very important items that we need to look at right now. And the floor is yours again.
Thank you. Well, as you know, the election day is slated for the EP&O stands for, it used to be M&O, but it's called the Educational Programs and Operation Levy. And it is a replacement levy. It is not a new levy. It is a levy that we have in place currently, and we're asking just to replace it. And election day is slated for February 9th, 2021, which means ballots will be mailed out around the 22nd of January. So not to get it confused with this election, the levy committee will be meeting again this week, and we'll set up next steps so that we start getting more of the word out. But we didn't want it confused with the current election. The replacement levy amount is about $6.9 million. And those, the $6.9 million, 39% of it pays for district-wide support. which would include the technology. Then we have about 23% helps pay for student services. And what happens is you get federal monies and you get state monies, but it's never enough to cover the cost of students that might have some special needs that they require possibly a nurse or something to that effect, or they require other services. So part of the levy pays for student services. Then we have basic ed. Part of it covers basic ed. Food service about 5%, and transportation about 3%. So that's what it's a maintenance and operation levy, but it's the day-to-day operations of the district, which is different than a capital levy. Capital levies are also not bonds, and so I just need to make that clarification. A capital levy means that you can fix buildings, and bonds means you can build buildings. And so the capital projects that we have in mind are roof replacements, modernizing the heat, ventilation, and air conditioning systems at the high school, modernize the science lab and CTE classrooms at the high school, replacement of the floors in the high school gym and cafeteria, possibly resurfacing of the track, upgrades to the district auditorium, looking at the sewer system at Gray Wolf. So those are things that a capital levy can pay for. And the capital levy that we currently have will be expiring on December 31st, 2020. And so if the new capital levy is passed, you won't see that money coming in until 2022. And on the November 16th meeting, there will be a really nice board presentation from John Gores and Corey Plager talking about all the nuts and bolts of the capital and the EPO levy and the financial part of it, and what has happened around the state with the different elections during the pandemic, before the pandemic. Hopefully we'll get on the other side of this pandemic soon. So that will be coming up on the 16th of November. So those are the items I have. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
All right, great, thank you. So appreciate the update there on that. If any of my, there we go, Director Koo, you have your hand up. Perfect.
I found the high five button. Thank you, Dr. Pryne. That's great. I may have missed it, or undoubtedly I missed it. I've been like Director Stauffer mentioned, really interested in upgrading our technology in terms of accessibility. Obviously, all the things that have been highlighted with COVID. Did you say the technology enhancements would be captured in the EP&O, or would that be more of the capital levy as I previously understood it?
It's the capital levy. We pay for some technology out of the EP&O, but the upgrades and things like that would definitely come out of capital levy funds.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
I'm sorry for the confusion. Yeah, it gets paid for out of both, but the upgrades and things would be out of capital levy.
That makes sense. Maintenance of kind of what we have comes out of EP&O. Upgrading to what our students, I would say, deserve is going to be that bigger lift from the capital levy. Okay, thank you.
All right, Director Stauffer.
Yes, Dr. Pryne, I just want to say I appreciate how you defined capital projects levy as opposed to bonds, as in levy is to fix, make repairs, but bonds is to build those buildings. And that's always a discussion out in the community. So I appreciate how you emphasize the difference. And a lot of those items on that list are, they've been critical and they're getting more critical because they were identified in previous years. And so we need to focus on those critical repairs. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention and to the community's attention.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Director Jeffries.
Yeah, thanks for your report. Now, if my understanding is correct, the current EP&O levy will continue on through 2021. And if the new levy passes, or when the new levy passes, we'll start collecting that in 2022.
That is correct.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Now,
Yes.
The capital improvement levy ends, the current one ends December 31st. So during 2021, we won't be collecting those funds. And that will mean,
is correct.
Even if it passes in February, we don't start collecting those till January. Is that correct?
That is correct. There will be, yes, there will be a lag. There will be that year lag.
Right. And I agree with Director Stoffer. There's some real critical needs, because I remember some of my first activities with the school district was back in 2015 or 2016, taking tours of the buildings and the needs for those at the time. And those needs, for the most part, are still there and probably gotten even more run down. So the capital improvement levy is very important. The EP&O levy, also my understanding is they do fund some very critical and very important and popular programs in the schools that the state does not fund. Is that correct? Things like activities and athletics, some of those?
Yeah, so what happens is the state gives you a certain amount of money, and if you want to, you can assess, you can have taxpayers vote to assess themselves, and then it will go for the extras that you want it to go for. Otherwise, we have to figure out $6.9 million out of our budget that we're not going to be spending if it were not to pass. But again, this is a replacement levy, so the taxpayers are already paying it. So they wouldn't see, it's not a new levy.
Right. Well, that's good. I'm looking forward to the presentation on the 16th, and I assume about that time we'll get more of the nuts and bolts and numbers.
Yes.
Involved, because we have to present something to the Clallam auditor like the first week or so of December, saying we want to be on the February ballot.
Yeah, so what happens is on November 30th, we have a special meeting to approve the resolution for both ballot measures. They will go to the county attorney. The county attorney works their magic, so to speak, and then if they approve what's read on there, if they approve the wording, then it will be placed on the ballot. If it is not approved, then what happens is it comes back to the district, and then the board reconvenes and makes the changes, and they tell you what changes would have to be made, if there are any to be made, and then you can put it back on the ballot so that the voters can vote for it.
Right. So this is one of those things we talked about, you hitting the ground running. It's very important that we kept this process going.
Yes.
The cabinet, the staff, the levy committee, they're still all functioning and operating, and we're moving ahead because we have to get those levies passed, especially, we have to get those passed.
And I will just say that the ballot has to be in and approved by the county by December 11th to make it onto the ballot for the February 9th election.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
All right, Director Pickens.
Hi, thank you. And thank you for my other board director colleagues who asked several questions that I was planning on asking. So the only last question I have is, and I know sometimes this gets a little tricky, is particularly if it's an election that follows a general election. If I'm not mistaken, is there a certain point that we have to get a certain threshold of voter turnout following a general election for it to be valid?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I do know that we need 50.1% on both of those ballot measures, but I don't know if that 50 point, I'll have to check that out, Eric, Director Pickens, I will have to check that out, and I will get back to you tomorrow and we'll put it in the minutes, but I don't know if it's of the total voting population or just the people that show up to vote?
Okay.
My
Yeah, I think
experience has been, I think it's people that show up to vote, but I could be wrong. Things could have changed since I last held an election, so.
yeah. I think, I'm not sure if it changes the approval threshold, but it's just a certain percentage of the voter turnout that turned out the last election, something of that sort that I remember.
Something,
But
yes, I'll
it's a
see
little
what,
fuzzy, so. Just occurred to me as the other directors were asking, so thought I'd ask that. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, and Director Pickens, that is correct. I'm trying to rack my brain, so appreciate looking into that, Dr. Pryne. I think it's 40% of the turnout, don't quote me on that, of the last turnout. So the only thing I wanted to kind of add to that, and this is more back, thank you for the update and for all the questions. This is more directed to the other board directors, is as we're looking at this timeline, one of the things we had discussed in our agenda planning also is whether we want to have a workshop prior to our November 30th meeting, so we can really, and the workshop probably would have more focus on the capital projects levy than the EP&O, or now I think it's called enrichment levy. We got to change it every couple of years just to keep us on our toes. But a workshop once, maybe, we're on a tight timeline. But after we have our presentation at our next board meeting, to be able to just kind of sit around and garner those numbers prior to our getting together the special meeting on the 30th to vote. But it'll give us a little better time to be able to spend on looking at all the different options, because within that capital projects levy, as we've looked at, there are a lot of different things on the plate, and we've got prioritization and how much money we're going to spend and all that, and we'll get some of that feedback. But I think that a workshop prior to November 30th, we do have the Thanksgiving holiday in the middle of there as well, that kind of takes up, but we're looking at maybe a couple of hours during the weekday, just to sit down and read through this stuff before we do that. So just some thoughts there. Director Stauffer, I see your hand there.
Yes, I would strongly support having that workshop, because can have maybe a longer conversation than what a regular board meeting, and if it was focused on the capital projects, I think it's vital to our discussion. So yes, I think it'd be very helpful. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. So there, the November the 16th. So I'm thinking that, probably that week of the 16th after our board meeting, we can throw a couple of times out, look at a schedule, throw a couple of times out, maybe a Wednesday, Thursday, preferably not the Wednesday afternoon. I've got a commitment going right now, but maybe the Tuesday or Thursday afternoon after that, the presentation will be fresh in our minds, and we'll have a little bit of time to discuss that. Maybe a 4 to 6 o'clock meeting at that point, where we can do that.
I'd be free the 17th or the 20th, just to put that out.
Okay.
So that Tuesday, or maybe even a Friday.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. We'll look at a couple of those dates there and get something confirmed and do that week. Sounds good. Oh, we have WASDA the 18th, 19th, and 20th. We have WASDA the 18th, 19th, and 20th. So there
17th
we go.
Sounds even better.
17th.
Maybe we can find a time during WASDA where we're not in a breakout or something. I don't know. A thought.
Yeah, okay. Well, sounds like we're up for it anyway. I'll put together some thoughts and times and we'll look at that. But thanks, Tracy, for that reminder. A lot going on here as we roll to the end of the week. All right. Any other questions or comments on the levy presentation before we move on? All right. Next up, we have the Sequim administrator contract. Victoria.
Good evening. Tracy, I'm noticing I'm unable to share my screen. So
that's what we get for practicing 3 times.
Yes. It says only meeting organizers and presenters can share, even though you gave me control.
I think I can adjust that. So let me hang on.
Okay.
Make a presenter.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you very much. So good evening, President Gibson, directors, Dr. Pryne. The district is pleased to share with you the recent collaborative effort we have had with the Sequim Administrators Association. Just wanted to start with a simple definition of collaboration, which is just 2 or more people working together towards shared goals. And this is really how we approach this important conversation with our administrators. Our conversation centered around 4 goals. We wanted to establish a work year that is reflective of the work required of administrators. We wanted to craft an enduring salary schedule that will organically adjust to follow the SEA schedule, and in so doing, eliminate the need for future salary negotiations. We wanted to correct the salary schedule to be in better alignment with SEA, and of course, make decisions that are fiscally sustainable and responsible. So our first goal, a work year that really makes sense. Our administrators work throughout the summer as needed. They work on weekends. They just work when they're required to work. And 207 days just isn't enough time to get the job done. So we worked to find a more appropriate calendar that is more reflective of the actual days our administrators work. So we increased the work days to 218, and we're basing the calendar on 260 days. We believe that this will build in the flexibility needed to better serve the students and the staff of the district. Our second goal was to bring the administrator's salary schedule into alignment. When we began our conversations back in September, I gotta tell you, I was actually quite surprised to learn that our administrators hadn't received any increases. Well, actually, they only received 2 increases in the last 4 years. So what this slide represents is that in the 17-18 school year, they did not receive any salary increase. In 18-19, they received 9.1% increase, but then again, in 19-20, they did not receive any increases. So if we didn't take action to keep our administrative salaries in alignment, the teacher's salary schedule would continue to encroach upon our administrators. So our team worked very hard to come up with a salary schedule that was simple and fair, and to place Sequim in a position to be competitive without overextending our resources. So what we've done is we've replaced the expansive step and column model with a simplified base salary model. So by establishing a solid base salary and replacing the steps with longevity increments, we have a schedule that maintains a reasonable range for sustainability while still honoring the work of our administrators. And then here is what this reimagined salary schedule looks like. It's clean and simple. It's easy to understand and implement. And we're particularly proud of this work because it took our old 10-step schedule and condensed it to one simple base salary model that increases through longevity. The total cost to implement this schedule equates to a 10% increase over the current schedule, which is really where we needed to be to bring our administrators into alignment. And it's also important to note that each base salary figure that's shown in this chart falls within the median ranges of the expanded schedule with the same increase applied. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is if we would have held on to that 10-step schedule and then applied the same percentage increase, you would find all of these base salaries shown on this table to be living somewhere in the middle of that salary schedule, which means that had we kept that 10-step schedule with this same increase, it would have ended up costing the district more over time. So in preparing this presentation, I have another slide I wanted to bring in to kind of further clarify the fiscal impact of this salary schedule and how it kind of works in tandem with increasing work days. And it requires a little explanation. So I kind of held this slide out so that when I speak of it, I could talk you through it in order to provide some context. So the current cumulative salary expense for administrators is $1,171,153, and it's spread across 207 work days for a cumulative daily rate of $56.58 per day. So the proposed cumulative salary expense is $1,292,25, and it's spread across 218 work days for a cumulative daily rate of $59.27 per day. So the total cumulative increase is $128.72, but when you adjust that for the increase in days, just for the purpose of like comparison, so you can kind of get the bigger picture, the total increase is $58,799. So while the total cost of administrative salaries is increasing by 10%, when it's adjusted for increased days, it really comes out to just under a 5% increase. So actually 4.7 to be exact. And I got to tell you, I kind of wish that I could take credit for this kind of reimagined model, but it really is our administrators who came up with this plan, and we really liked it. So now that we have a properly aligned salary schedule, we want to keep it that way. So to that end, our administrators desired to link their schedule to the Sequim Education Association schedule so that any increases negotiated with SEA would automatically be applied to the Sequim administrators. This means no more salary negotiations, and we believe this salary schedule eliminates the need for those yearly salary conversations, and honestly, that makes everyone very happy. So our final goal was fiscal responsibility and sustainability, and I think we've kind of tried to demonstrate how the model that we've put into place accomplishes that goal, but also the simplification of that structure along with tying it to the SEA schedule gives us the ability to make better projections as it eliminates some of those variables. And then, of course, with more predictability comes the opportunity to really make some sound fiscal decisions. So what's next is we have some language to fine tune with the Sequim Administrators Association, but we will revisit that in January. And then when we have that contract finalized, we'll bring it back for presentation to the board. And I just want to say these past 2 months, if there any indication of how our future conversations will go, I can honestly say that I'm looking forward to continuing our good work together. Our administrators have really shown themselves to be fair, to be trustworthy, and to be globally minded. And Darlene and I would like to give special thanks to Donna Hudson, Mark Harris, and Shelley Langston for leading their team in collaboration, creativity, and candor. And I just want to thank you for your time. I know you probably have some questions. Donna Hudson has agreed to stand by, as well as Darlene, should they need to address anything But that is our presentation, and we'd like to ask if you have any questions.
Right. Wow. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. I think that was laid out well. Interesting to see the increase in the amount of days the administrators put in, and thanks to the administrators for stepping up to that. I appreciate that. And Director Koo has his hand up right away. So floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I hope that is eager. First of all, great presentation. I really like the way this was laid out. This is helpful. This is an improvement, and I want to recognize that as a district, or I believe how we've done things as a district in the time I've been on the board. So thank you, and it's much appreciated. My board colleagues have heard me say this before, is obviously as the board, we're the last line, so to speak, between the public and the school district, and obviously fiduciary responsibility is a key component of that. So it's in that spirit that this question comes from, and certainly not anything else. And I recognize we have some of our administrators at the meeting tonight, and recognized for their good work. Well, I don't need to pass in terms of where these concerns lie, but obviously, challenge is, and you highlighted it very well, Victoria, in the beginning of, this board did approve, myself included, a pretty sizable increase to our teachers, a short time ago, and that did put a squeeze on, if you will, group. And so we recognized even then that, whoa, that's, if you look at it on a per diem basis, this doesn't match up. You have some teachers making more than administrators, and I think most folks agree that that's an ideal scenario. So I guess the question, the specific have, in addition to the gratitude for the good work here, is the longevity increments that have been shown here. Are those annual increases would get if they were here for 20 years, each year they would anticipate a 4% increase?
No, those are 5-year increments. So, less than 5 years,
Okay.
There's no longevity. 5 years, 1%, 10 years, 2%. Does that make sense?
Yes, that definitely makes sense, and it assuages my quick math. So,
yeah, that would have been
and that
pretty
and that is not a judgment statement. Stress that enough, Principal Hudson, Principal Riccobini. That is not a judgment statement. I'm just I'm a math guy, and I was looking at that going, I guess the other question, and I do look forward to seeing the contract when it's been fine-tuned. Or I guess the comment I would make too is I do agree with the 260-day work week. I don't know if it was this group, or it may have been, frankly, it may have been the superintendent. We had the language didn't match up with, recognition of the job and what it entailed. I like how this is laid out. I like how this is segregated for personal days, vacations, and the like that are deserved and should be enjoyed. Is there any COLA? I know COLA as itself has gone away, or any other annual bump associated with cost of living? State will be in the final document.
Darlene, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the administrators have already received the 1.6 IPD that everyone else has received this year. So my starting numbers started with that already in place. Does that answer your question?
I think it. So thank you, and like I said, appreciate the good work. Look forward to reviewing and hopefully approving the. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Director Perkins, I think you were next.
Thank you. Just a few questions about, and definitely echo what my colleague Director Koo has stated. I admire their work, especially now. I don't definitely couldn't do it without our administrators. The effective date of these changes, because I looked online and I just saw, I think it was the last I saw was the 18-19 calendar, and just not being new to the board, I was wondering when this would take effect, and are any of these backdated?
Yes, so this would go back to July 1, 2020.
July 1. Okay. And so was there a salary schedule in place for the year of 1920?
There's a salary schedule in place. There was no increases made to it.
Okay. And this sort of related to Director Koo's question, but relating to the IPD. I understand they received the IPD. Is there so if they'd already received that, is there future IPDs built in for future years within this agreement?
Well, yeah, I mean, Darlene, and maybe you can speak to this better than I can, being our fiscal person, but yes, it's my understanding that it would be assumed that the future IPDs would be put into this agreement.
Okay. And the 200, so it's 218 days?
218 work days, yes.
218 work days. And previously it was 207?
Correct.
Okay. And then there's an additional, or I don't know what the right term is, flex. Are they somewhat flexible days or
So
not?
Yeah.
Can
so
you elaborate on those?
Yeah, sure. So 20 of those 218 days are days that administrators can choose to work remotely or choose maybe to have work on a Saturday. They're meant to be a little bit more flexible.
Okay.
But they're still work days. They're not days that are, like free days. They're work days.
Okay. And I think you've already answered one of my questions, because when I saw the increase, and I was just wondering what the cumulative increase was from a bottom line perspective for our expenses, but I think that is what is captured in that 10% figure. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I mean the cumulative bottom line dollar increase is 120,872. I kind of like backed it out a little bit because part of that is because they're increasing days worked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So and I appreciate you going through the level of detail for explaining that. And I'm just checking my notes here. Okay, I think all my other questions have been answered. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you. Director Jeffries.
Yeah, some of my questions may have been asked, although the COVID flexibility you just mentioned, or flexibility in schedule to be able to work remote. Is there something built into the contract in case COVID gets much worse and we're all having to work remotely? Does this contract allow for that?
Well, this doesn't specifically address that issue, but I think if that were to happen, we would all just go back to our remote working the way we've done in the past.
Okay.
Still work days.
That makes sense. Yep, I agree. I do have some concerns. The sustainability, given declining revenue within the state and declining enrollment, I'm sure the cabinet and you and Darlene and the administrators got together. Can we sustain this if we have a significant hit or the enrollment doesn't come back like we predict?
Well, we want to make decisions that would be sustainable. So balancing what we need to do right by our administrators, but also looking ahead to the future, making sure that we're not putting ourselves in a situation that is unsustainable, just trying to make the very best decisions that we can, keeping those things in mind, to be sure. So, we would want to approach every year with, our eyes wide open as to what do we need to do to make sure that we maintain sustainability and that we're always making fiscally responsible decisions. So, we agreed to this feeling that it was something that was sustainable.
Good. Well, I assumed so. The professionalism of the group, the administrators, and you and Darlene and anybody else that worked on it is greatly appreciated. So I figured you had taken a close look at that. So thank you very much. And thanks to the administrators and all the people that worked on this contract. It seems to be very well thought out. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Larry. And Director Stauffer.
Yes. Thank you, Victoria, for this work and for the work of the administrators. Presentation. Couple questions is on those flex days is how do the administrators log those days in, punch the clock on them? How are they accounted? And is there a tracking system on that? I'm just
sure. Well, I would probably just reflect on the way we've been doing school, honestly. Our administrators, they have not been able to be in the building. I'm thinking last spring, but there's no question that those folks are working because they're right on the other side of their cell phones. They're right on the other side of their emails. So, and the work is getting done. So, there's a level of professionalism that would be expected. I don't really think there would be necessarily, please log the work that you did today to confirm that you were working, because we know they're working when we reach out and they're there and they're answering our questions and they're getting their job done. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
It helps. When we shut down the buildings back in March, and then then an end of school year approached, and the district had to figure out what school was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And those are times, especially in COVID, that it's all hands are on deck for that. And we're going to approach or be faced with similar scenarios. And I want to feel comfortable that that all the administrators will be available for those, and we'll be doing all that good work. And will this salary, this schedule, will that allow, or will we have to go back into negotiations to add more days if that's if the need arises, type thing?
Oh, yeah. I believe that the idea was we build in the extra days now with the understanding that they very well may work more than the 218 days that we put on this calendar, but this is what the administrators felt was a fair representation of the work they do. And, they very well may work more, but this was something that we all felt good about.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks everyone. Yeah, and kind of to that point, I think I just, this last year, our administrators put in a lot of extra hours just trying to get prepped for the new year outside of what their normal time is, and just want to thank throw some appreciation out there for that. Again, good work, Victoria and Darlene and administrators. So with that said, we've had a lot of conversation. This is a action item tonight, so we do need a motion to approve this as we move forward.
I move to approve. Jeffries.
Do I have a second? Hello, do we have a second? Director Koo?
I do not have a second, and would note that we do not have EA to approve tonight. So forgive me if I'm misinterpreting this, but I think we're at an actionable level other than the comments and questions taken. So I'm not prepared to.
This is an action item for this evening. Director Perkins.
Don't know if now is an appropriate time, but I'm gonna suggest, or I'm gonna make a motion that that we table this item to revisit it at the next board meeting. I think that there are some additional conversations I want to have, but since those directly relate to collective bargaining, I'm not sure that this is the appropriate setting for that. So I would like to make a motion to table this until next meeting.
And this is Director Stoffer. I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table. Director Jeffries, your hand's up.
Yeah, point of order. Do I need to withdraw my motion before they do that?
You can withdraw your motion.
Yeah, I will. It wasn't seconded. I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we have a new motion on the table that is seconded to table this to the next meeting for approval. Am I reading that correct, Director Perkins?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, now I need further discussion on this. Director Koo.
I don't want to be obnoxious, but just for Tracy and the record, whether Director Jeffrey, which he has the prerogative to do, or the motion failed without a second, is either path is okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Director Koo. Any other further discussion?
Just to say that I want to make sure that everything is done properly, and I definitely value the work of our administrators, and sometimes it's just good to make sure that everything's done properly. So I think it's sometimes not rushing into things might be the best course. So
okay, Director Stoffer.
Yeah, so Roger on that, because this is basically our first brush of this, and it's one of our main duties is that fiscal responsibility, fiduciary responsibility to the community. So I just want to make sure myself that I have a good lens as I'm looking at this, and I do appreciate all the work that has gone in, but myself, I just need that a little longer look. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Director Jeffries.
I understand the intent, which is good. Does Eric, are you foreseeing that we have some kind of workshop to discuss this, or are we just to take this home and mull it over in our own minds independently until next week? I don't really want to discuss this other than in appropriate situations with other board directors be voting on this. So this time is just going to allow us to read fine-tooth comb reading of this agreement. Is that what we're saying?
The matters of concern that I want to bring up are kind of very specific to the collective bargaining process, and Dr. Pryne maybe can weigh in. I do believe it's an appropriate matter for us to discuss in an executive session, if I'm not mistaken.
That is
Okay.
correct.
I just want.
That is correct.
Okay,
So go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, so we can expect an executive session sometime before the next meeting to discuss the issues and questions we might have, correct?
Correct. So we have an executive session that we have on tonight's agenda if we needed it. So we can go into executive session tonight and discuss it, or we can schedule executive session, and I would recommend ahead of the meeting on the 16th. If you plan to bring this back and vote on it, I would think that you would want your executive session ahead of the meeting on the 16th. So that would be a choice that the board has tonight.
So I would say probably if we were going to do that, to look at the prior to meeting exec session on the 16th. That does give a little bit of time for, as some have requested, to do a little more digging and reading through this a little better, as opposed to having it tonight where we're still kind of on a short-term time frame.
Okay, that sounds good. So we'll schedule it then for 5 p.m. on the 16th, because the meeting on the 16th is at 6.
That works.
Okay.
All right. So with that said, any other further discussion? Because we still have to vote. All right. So we have a motion to table the approval of the administrator contract to the next board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Right, next up, we have the annual Perkins grant approval.
Hi there. Tracy, are you driving for me? Could you pull up the summary, please?
Hi there, Mr. Riccobini.
Hi. Well, thanks for having me tonight. Tonight I'm going to share the annual Perkins grant, Strengthening Career and Technical Education grant process. Our grant amount is just under $30,000 at $29,928. There are 6 broad categories the funds can be used in. I won't read each one of those categories to you, but the first category is categorized as career exploration, career development, and also advising. The second category is a broad category in professional development. Category C is working with industry partners and integrating CTE programs. And Tracy, if you could scroll down, please. Thank you. And category D is supporting teachers with programs of study and development of CTE frameworks. And item E is the purchasing of equipment. So our 2020-2021 grant expenditures as of right now are our career counseling specialist at Sequim High School at approximately $12,000, and also our excuse me one second, and then also professional development for CTE staff at approximately $6,300, and continue our industry partnership with the Skillmation program, and also having a online certification platform which leads to industry certification. It's a program called ICEV. That's just over $6,000, and the rest of our grant would be for equipment purchases. One unique addition this year with the Perkins grants across the state is the comprehensive local needs assessment. That process was done. Sequim is a part of the Great Northwest Network of CTE directors and educators. And that process started actually a year and a half ago. Came to a bit of a halt due to COVID, but we worked collaboratively on that. There's a draft within all the board documents of that being done throughout the region. That region stems from South Kitsap all the way up to Nia Bay. And it's just a comprehensive look at all the components that make up CTE. Questions?
All right, Director Jeffries, do you have your hand up? Oh, you just took it down. Up again.
Oh, it's up and down.
There you go.
Up and down. Keep pushing the wrong button. So I understand with the COVID and our reopening plan, it's probably right now the plan is to possibly bring back some of the CTE hands-on type of courses. Do we have a good plan in place, or are we working on a plan so we can bring kids in to get their hands-on welding skills or whatever CTE courses that we offer? Is basically that's the plan, to get them in there so we can fulfill our responsibility for this program and to our responsibility to the kids?
We have a plan in place for our hands-on CTE courses. Specifically, Mr. Moore and Mr. Phillips have been surveying families and students and came up with a great process where we can have small groups of kids in multiple times throughout the week. It's still being finalized right now, but we hope to have students on campus shortly.
Good, thank you.
Director Stauffer.
Yes, thank you. On item C with the Skill Nation, I was in a conversation with some folks that they call themselves Connect for Sequim Schools last month, and they were asking a lot of questions, and I said, please contact Principal Riccobini and the superintendent regarding the next steps. So has that group made contact with you? And if so, could you elaborate on what those steps, how you see those steps transpiring? Thank you.
They haven't connected with me yet, but my understanding is that once we are able to get our advisory groups together, that will get our Skill Nation groups up and running.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, well, this too is a action item for this evening, so we need a motion to approve.
Chair, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
Okay. All right, thank you. Director Koo, I saw your hand float up there. Did you have something to add?
Oh, sorry, that was the wrong button, but ready to support the motion.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, any further discussion? Great, then hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Principal Riccobini. We appreciate the presentation and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, what do we got going here next? Multiple screens. Okay. All right, so this says levy discussion here. We had that. What we have is, so we've got levy discussion there. I don't have that on my president's copy there. Do we have anything further to discuss on that? think so.
I don't think so. This is Jane.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay. Tracy?
We had held that in case there needed to be any adjustments from what was presented.
Got it. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Okay, so next up, we have a boatload of policies to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'm having a shot if you would permit.
Yes.
Okay. Barring any objection from your staff alike, I would move to approve the entirety of the policies numbering 0000 to 140, except for 1105 director districts, 1400 meeting order of business and quorum, and policy 1410 executive or closed sessions.
All right. So is that a motion to approve motion to approve all those except those three? Do I have a second on that?
Yes, Director Stauffer seconds it.
Okay, great. Any discussion on it?
Could I just get the three numbers again that we were not?
Yes, it's point 1108, 1122, and 1123.
And the purpose of my singling those out is to have changes that somebody may want to discuss further. Otherwise, the other one, no changes.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you say those numbers again, please?
Yeah. So it's policy 1105, policy 1400, and policy 1410.
Okay. I see what you did.
Yeah.
Never
So
mind.
those three have some updated changes.
Right.
So we'll want to look at those individually before we approve them. And Director Stauffer, your hand up.
Yes, I appreciate you saying a boatload because Coasties like the word boat. But I also appreciate, again, back to Tracy and all of her work and putting this together for us. And this is another one of those vital duties of being board directors. And I'm ready to vote in favor of the motion. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you. With that said, all those in favor of the motion to approve all policies presented at this point except 1105, 1400, and 1410 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Okay, so Tracy, could we see 14, the first one, 1105?
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve as.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second on 1105. Any further discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Next up, we have 11.22 policy 1400 meeting conduct order and of business and quorum.
Motion to approve, Chair.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, and lastly, we have point 1123, policy 1410, executive or closed sessions.
Chair would move to approve as presented.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? All right. Thank you. Yep, we got that group done. Next up, the next section. Okay. Well, I think that concludes our meeting for this evening. Anybody with anything for the good of the order? Director Jeffries.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention how enthusiastic and that I am for the Universal Design for Learning initiative for the school. I think it would serve us well, and hopefully this will be the first of many professional developments and implementations of UDL. And if you don't know about it, I suggest you do some internet research, and I think it's the way we should go in the future. It's been around since the 90s, but now even more than ever, it's needed. And along with competency-based learning and some of the other initiatives in the state, I think Universal Design for Learning is going to serve us well. So I look forward to that, and I applaud the school district for moving in that direction.
Great, thank you, Larry. Director Stoffer.
Yes, I just want to add that Dr. Pryne will be attending the Chamber of Commerce Executive Board meeting tomorrow afternoon for a levy presentation. We wanted to get the buy-in from the executive of the chamber, and then we'll take a vote for the whole chamber board the following week. But Dr. Pryne will be joining the executive team tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you to Angie, our executive director for the Sequim Chamber, for joining us this evening. I see you out there. Yeah, lastly, just want to thank everybody for good conversation, good meeting tonight. Thank you, Dr. Pryne, on your first board meeting with us in your acting position tonight. Look forward to further work, and I had something else, but now I can't. Oh, well. It slipped my mind. We got done. Good timing tonight. Okay. Oh, that's what it was. Last thing, Tracy had messaged me that those policies should be up tomorrow live. So thank you.
Actually, I raised my hand to remind
Yes.
folks of the November 9th meeting. I've heard from 3 of you. Just curious if anyone else will be joining. A City of Sequim legislative.
Got it. Well, I will be there if I didn't.
I have
Email you, Tracy.
Excuse me?
Via email.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tracy. Okay. Well, with that said, everybody have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you all on the other side of tomorrow night's election. Be safe out there, and
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining in. Appreciate it.
Yep. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.